Hey guys, and welcome to this new podcast episode. If you missed the first episode, we were talking about momentum and scripting, and from a pro player perspective, what I'm thinking about it. So make sure to check that. The link is in the description. This is the second episode, guys. I am here with two guests, Aaron and Woodzy. Both of their social medias are down below, so make sure to follow them on Twitter. Make sure to stay up to date with what they're doing. They're incredible people, they're incredible players, and it was very fun talking to them here about the skill gap in the current FIFA. It's a bit of a longer video, but I do think it's a good thing to put on in the background whilst you're, playing squad battles, playing rivals, doing objectives, that kind of stuff, guys. It's perfect for you, and I really appreciate all the support I've been given. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoy, and make sure to like the video, and let's be nice to each other in a community and help each other out, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Right, guys, so here we are. I got Aaron with me.
Yo, hi.
I got Woodzy with me.
Yo.
And we'll be talking about the current meta, the skill gap. Where is FIFA going? And should it change? Should it be different? I think we'll all agree that it has to be different. But look, where do we start? Aaron, talk to me. What do you think of the current meta?
The current meta, it depends on, in my opinion, it depends on what level you're playing at. At like a pro level, or like a, I don't know, I would say probably like Elite 2 plus. It's shocking. It's shocking. It's people just looking for through balls, to be honest, most of the time. Skill cancels. What else is there? It's mostly the through balls, isn't it? To be honest.
Bridge.
Oh yeah, through ball and bridge. There you go. Yeah, the bridge is shocking. It's on par, in my opinion, with like the lack of care of like FIFA 19, because you can just. You can't even at least on 19 you could at least like get in the way of it a bit. Maybe get a little tackle in. With the bridge, it's just like if someone times it right, you can't. Your defender like may as well not be there. So yeah, but with the through balls, are shocking. Like when you have a term called an umut ball, like I think it says a lot. Like you've got through balls named after FIFA players. Like
explain to the viewers obviously what you mean by in case they don't know it, obviously, and they're not aware of what's going on.
Like an umut ball is just a phrase which people use to describe, like, I don't know, there's like a certain through ball where the attacker gets in line with the defender, and if you time the through ball correctly, the defender can't like lock onto the ball, so it's basically just like a free one-on-one opportunity with the goalkeeper, unless you've got, I don't know, prime Carlos Alberto at centre back or something.
Yeah.
Or Kleiber or informed Kyle Walker, which everyone uses. Yeah, normally you see it like from the wings, and then like I don't know, it's just like a through ball. It just goes straight through. It's silly.
So like first of all, obviously a lot of people mention this, like you've said, there are specific skill moves which work, and I thought it's kind of a revolving door. Like EA says, okay, so we'll patch this skill move, and now this next new patch, we develop a new skill move, because obviously every player is always looking for something to attack with, really. And if EA takes it away, we'll find something new to attack it with, obviously. So now we have the stepovers. They patched the stepovers twice, quite literally, not even just once, just twice.
Yeah.
Now we don't have stepovers, so people are looking for ball rolls, scoop turns, all this kind of stuff. But obviously, we're talking here very high level. When I play my first few games, people are not obviously that good at the mechanics of the game. There's obviously nothing wrong with that. People play casually, people play for fun.
Yeah.
Where do we get this? So guys, how do we get the fun back into the game? Because what you're saying, obviously, is very repetitive. Every game feels the same. So where do we get the fun back?
Well, I think there just needs to be a sort of balance with everything. I think the problem with all these kind of patches is they're all being swayed in one way, and there should be a balance in the game where I've been kind of thinking about this, but like you should be able to break someone down through passing and just dribbling. If people want to do that and they're good at that, they should be able to just break someone down with that alone. But if you also want to have fun and do some skills to beat opponents, because you use skill moves in the correct place to beat defenders one-on-one, you should also be rewarded for that. The problem with these recent games is there's passes that don't make sense that go through all the time, but you want to play a pass like 2 yards from one CDM to another, it gets overhit. You're like, well, pass like your striker gets overhit to the defender. So passes that make sense don't work, but passes that don't make sense work. Skill moves like the step over when you use it correctly was fine, but you can use skill moves in a way that doesn't make sense but works, but when you try to use it and it makes sense, it doesn't. And
The game doesn't make sense, really.
the game is so like in reverse because
Random.
nowadays people random is the perfect word, because nowadays people aren't trying to use skill moves to beat an opponent, like beat a defender one-on-one. They're using a skill move to go into somebody, to morph through them, to then be able to like win the ball back and score from it. I'm seeing people, I'm controlling a player, and I'm seeing someone bridge. I'm standing there and they still go, oh, let me just bridge because I know I might get that ball back and get a free chance on goal because your defender will fall over. Instead of going, oh, let me do a different skill move that might, either shift myself to the left or shift myself to the right. And if you guess incorrectly, I'm through. It's not about that anymore. It's about how can I just bulldoze my way through on goal. And the thing is, you see it now in casual, in like even the casual play, because it's not even a case of people will do bridges. I'll play my first 10 weekend league games and I'll come up against people that, will use, might not have the best team, and they'll have like a, Gold Werner or, just fast players up top, which is, the meta's pace. And they won't be able to do any of the skill moves, but what they'll do is they'll just sprint into me, hoping that they'll get a bounce back or get something that will just let them through on goal and score. Now, if someone wants to improve in the game, they should be, looking at how can they shift the ball, maneuver the ball, pass around, dribble around to create a space to shoot. But nowadays, it's just, let's just run forward. I'll just run forward. And just hope the game gives me a chance. And I think that's where it's kind of slowly going downhill, especially this year. I think it's more of that kind of just trying to bulldoze your way through. I think that's why people aren't enjoying it as much, because it's so random. No,
I agree. The thing is as well is that this year there's a lot of goals being scored. Like, you'll probably score more this year than most, like last year, for example. Last year's a special example, I'll be honest, because it was just a Jose Mourinho fest, wasn't it? But this year there's so many goals being scored, but they're not worked goals. You know what I mean? It's like the same thing with like FIFA 19 or whatever, where people just were like flicking it up to the back stick, and people were scoring like 4 or 5 goals a game or whatever, and it's like you haven't really earned it. Like, it's kind of just it's the mechanics are like, I like that, but no, I completely agree with your point about the skill moves. Like this year, people won't even people were step over in to get that boost, but also if you did it into someone, you kind of got sometimes you get lucky and you get the ball back and then you'd score. It's the same thing with every skill move, to be honest. Like, you know, time someone does, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the only skill move which I've actually noticed you can actually tackle reliably is the McGeady spin. You know, like the 4-star one. That's like the only one which you can actually tackle like properly without any glitches.
I feel like that skill move every year is just bad, and I don't know what it either works. It works like sometimes well if someone genuinely doesn't expect it, but even if someone is like jockeying alongside, which is why I think in some ways maybe a jockeying should maybe become manual at some point for like moving forward. But if someone just slightly jockeys, because the skill move is so slow, you can overrun
it's terrible,
and still get in front of them by the time the skill move's finished. So it's kind of useless and pointless using it sometimes. You'd rather just do a McGeady spin cancel, because you get to turn around quicker.
That's another thing with skill moves though as well, is that the skill move cancels even. Is the reason people use that is because it literally helps you dribble faster. You know what I mean? Like people do La Croqueta cancel in the box, not even to like, it's literally just to turn because left stick dribbling is like that bad.
Is
Oh, I agree with
atrocious.
this. I love doing that. The fake, the cancel, the what's his name? What did you mention? Oh, I cancel the La Croqueta to turn inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love doing that, and I do it against pros and qualifiers, and it works. It really works at every level because, like you mentioned, left stick dribbling is not there.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I picked up here. It's like you either use a very rigged skill move, or there's like tons of skill moves which just simply do not work. Like the Berber spin, that's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It never works. It's so slow that it's so easy to just intercept. And I just think EA kind of limits your options so much, especially in attacking, and that obviously, as you guys mentioned, that ruins the fun. It doesn't allow for there to be any skill because people are looking at a way to exploit the game rather than to use their ability. There are teams that have a lot of skillers in real life, and like Neymar and Mbappe, like that kind of a team, they're all having that kind of skill on the ball. Top
Oh,
level,
God.
that was completely unintentional, but that's the first thing which came to my mind. But you get my point. Like there are teams with different styles, and in FIFA you can't have that style because you're either playing 4-2-3-1 or you're playing 4-3-1-2 nowadays. Obviously to attack it, there's two formations. There's one style that works. There's these skill moves that work, and that's it. You're limited, and I don't know what you guys feel, but I think
Oh
that
no, definitely.
really
Oh,
limits
100%.
you as a player.
Like, why is there like a billion different skill moves in the game and people use like 3? Like,
Yeah.
it's stupid. Like, even myself, I've never went out of my way. The only reason I learned La Croqueta was because of FIFA 19. The only reason I know the Berber spin is because it was useful in FIFA 17. I don't even know what the roulette was good in like FIFA 17. It's still like decent if you use it right this year. Just not at a high level to be honest. But like there's so many skill moves and they're so useless. Like I don't even know half the skill moves. Like none of them.
Yeah.
Like the one which is really good this year because of how bad locking on with a defender is the what's it called? The sombrero flick. The one where you like flick it over your head and the ball's in the air. Yeah.
Flick the legs to the side of the player. I think people are discovering. I don't know what the buttons are on PlayStation, not the triggers, but the actual buttons. We got RB and LB on the Xbox.
The L and R one.
Oh, the directional nutmeg as well.
Thingy. I've started doing that to go forwards, right? And it's like a ball roll forwards, and it goes.
It's just a mini bridge, like
it's a mini bridge.
It's a mini
and
bridge.
if you try and do it quickly backwards as well, I faced a huge gorilla, and a bit of a flex. But I was facing him, and he kept using that, but like to turn the other way. So you have to click it super quick because otherwise it does a drag back. But if you do it correctly, your player just turns, and I've started to use that in the box, and people can't stop it. And I'm like, and of course that is a bit of a skill, but at the same time, I'm once again using a specific thing to rig my opponent because he can't lock onto it. Like there's no lock on because of it.
Yeah, I see. Was it what's his name? Impact or whatever? Not what's his name? The English guy that plays for Serious About FIFA.
Yeah, that's Impact. Yeah.
I remember a tweet he made. I think it was like near the start of the game or when the first qualifier came out. It was like something like, "Oh, rig or be rigged," and that's just like stuck with me because it's so true. It's either you either rig someone else or you get rigged and you lose because you've been rigged, and it's stupid. It's so dumb.
So true.
Like, why are we like playing a game? And this comes back to the fun thing, right? Instead of like playing for fun, I don't know, doing skill moves, doing like crazy like passing play, like I don't know, in earlier FIFAs, and as well, oh my god, passing assistance, that's something else which we need to talk about. Oh my lord.
We do, 100%.
Me sideways. Oh sorry, you're gonna have to edit that out. Right, first swear word. My bad. What was I saying? Passing players like fast passing and stuff like this. It's just not. It's not viable anymore. It's so.
It just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like, the closest switch is probably like I don't even know anyone that actually everyone just plays the same as well. Everyone just plays the same, and it's like I don't even know. Like, it's either right. No, actually, there's not everyone does. Everyone doesn't play the same. Everyone plays one of two styles. It's either kick array through balls, or it's like possession whoring, like 70% possession. Look for the pass into your striker, do a skill move cancel, and like shoot across goal or shoot near your post. Like, they're the two styles. It's so sad. It's so sad.
Yeah.
At a high level, you should be able to play like so many different styles, to be honest. But nowadays, it's just
it is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, and then I don't understand how like more people come and play this game nowadays. Like, this game just keeps growing and growing, and I'm like, who's telling you to buy this game?
Yeah,
genuinely, who's going to your friend and be like, oh yeah, FIFA 21's like really fun. Like, do you want to buy it? And like, the only reason you do that is if you want to like exploit them for co-op rivals or something. Like,
yeah,
no one goes to their friend and says, oh yeah, this game's like so fun. You'd go home, like you'd go to school or whatever, in like FIFA 15 or 16 or 17, and be like, wow, FIFA's kind of decent, it's fun. But like nowadays, it's just like, it's just people like, even like the casuals or like still like there was a guy who I played in draft the other day, and he held 65% possession and spammed step overs, and this was after the patch in draft. This was, and I had to send him a message afterwards saying, because he was a casual, so I'm assuming he was a casual because he didn't know that there had been a patch, and he was like, "Oh, why are my step overs so slow?" And so like, even like people, so even the casuals still like spam this stuff because they'll watch like, I don't know, FIFA analyst or not. I'm not like calling anyone out. I'm just saying it how it is. They'll watch like a tutorial like Crassy or something, and they'll start like spamming it. And so even like the low level people do it, and that's
And is that a problem? Do you think
that's not? I don't think that's a problem at all. I think
it's EA's fault.
It's EA's fault at the end of the day, because like, I think we're fortunate that like there is more content now than there has been, back then. And if you wanted to learn how to get better at a game, it wasn't, as simple as, oh, let me go onto YouTube and you'll have about, like 20 different videos on the exact same topic. Nowadays you can search for like any kind of skill, what is the meta, even just how do I win more games in champs, and you'll get about 1 million videos on that. But if you wanted to improve in, say, like FIFA 13, 14, it was just a case of, I just need to play games until I start winning more, or I need to start like facing my friends and learning how to beat them, and then beat other people on like wager matches and stuff, where I actually have to sacrifice my own money to like improve at a game. But nowadays there's so much content, which I think is a good thing. But the problem lies is that it's the game itself forces you to play in a way that isn't fun, or that you wouldn't want to necessarily play. And it's a thing that, like, if someone complains about a skill, or someone complains about something that maybe shouldn't be in the game, or they feel it's broken or whatever, the community, you either get half of them saying, yeah, I agree, this is broken, or it'd be adapt and get better. There's no kind of, oh yeah, this is broken, I feel it should be, tweaked in this way. It's like, the bridge is ridiculous, or it's, you should try it, you need to do it, why aren't you doing it, you need to get better at it, like just bridge, like you'll be better. And I think to an extent, there is a level of, okay, I need to adapt to a certain play style, but when the play style is, I'm going to do random things and hope it works, that shouldn't be something you have to adapt to, especially for people that have played the same game every time. Like, you don't go into COD and the gun shoots sideways now because it's Cold War or something, or it shoots at a different, like, you have to slightly tweak the gun pattern, like the recoil pattern changes slightly, but not to an extent where you basically feel like you're learning a brand new game. I think this year more than any other year, I've struggled to get over the fact that you can just do things randomly and it works. because it's
Definitely.
I've played FIFA since I don't know, like FIFA 04, like, or something like that. But in terms of like, I guess online and playing other people, I started playing like FIFA 13, and then tried to like get into competing when Foot Champs, and I wasn't great, but I've been playing that game for so long that I know what should and shouldn't work for the most part. Like, if I see someone making a ridiculous run that I can't see on my screen, probably a good chance that if I mark it, they're not going to play that pass and it's not going to go through. But now it does. And you have to kind of relearn all the things that, you spent like maybe like 5 years trying to understand the basics of football build-up, watching football, playing video games, and now you just feel a bit clueless. I think.
Yeah, this is why I think there's a new era of like young kids that are like so good, because the game is no longer about football.
No,
it's so like the turning point for me was FIFA 18, and this is because of passing, which a lot of people don't talk about as an issue, to be honest, or not as much as like in terms of assistance. Like, I played FIFA 18 a few before FIFA 21 came out, and you could just play narrow and just spam X, and it would just go through every time, like bang 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 bang, and it's the same thing on this, to be honest. That's kind of why narrow is kind of decent on this game, which is stupid. Like, it's good in a way which it shouldn't be. Yeah. In a sense of like, you can just pass it to your cam and wait for your striker to make a run, and then through ball to your striker because through balls are stupid, like stupidly good, and then you're in on goal and then you score. And
the risk to reward just isn't there like it should be, I think. So what you say, like just being able to spam X and do whatever you want, like shouldn't be a thing.
And that's also an issue with like interceptions and stuff, like defensively. Like, how many times in this game, I'm sure we can all say this, how many times does someone pass the ball next to your defender's foot and he doesn't get the ball?
Or even worse, you stand directly in the middle of it, and instead of your defender just standing still, your defender opens his leg, lets the roll through the legs. You're clearly standing there. You've also, done an even more ridiculous thing that most people don't do anymore: press tackle to try and get an animation that stops the ball and intercepts the ball, because nowadays you don't have to tackle people by pressing tackle. You can just run into their back now,
or you can hold L2 and R2,
or you can just hold L2 and R2, and then it will just do it for you. Which I guess to an extent is fine, but really ultimately if you're not right in front of the ball, you should have to press tackle to stick out a leg for it, but you don't have to anymore. And with passing assistance being ridiculous because you can't intercept a pass, but then you can't tackle the ball, how are you meant to be rewarded for the defensive side of the game? I think the thing is as well, like, we talk about these skill moves being so overpowered, but if you could just tackle the bridge, like, apart from the whole jockeying and the fact that your defender stands still when you're controlling them, if you could just tackle somebody after they've bridged into space and you can stick out a leg, people wouldn't be able to use it as much because you just get tackled every single time, and they'd keep doing it. You're like, okay, I'm just going to tackle you. I'm going to tackle you. But the problem is as well, it is also a kind of responsive thing as well. Sometimes you'll press tackle, you'll see the power bar go up. The game has input your tackle, but there's no animation to go with it. And they'll just stand there, and then you'll get tackled by the guy just running into you, and then they'll run through and score. So that's a kind of another issue. And the problem is, I think a lot of people complained about tackling being one of the passing assistance as well, but tackling and passing being the two biggest problems this year with this game. Not even talking about like the attacking side and the through balls, but just being able to tackle someone off the ball has been like the biggest problem. And it seems as though there hasn't been a response from EA on that side. in terms of just being able to tackle. They even said this year, the funny thing is, this year and the last year, they've talked about how tackling was going to be better,
I remember
and you
this.
were going to win the ball when you press tackle. And the beta initially, it was okay. It still bounced back. And same
Which
with
beta?
No,
Don't even talk to me about FIFA. Don't talk to me about 21 beta. I've got.
No, I was not a fan of that.
The delay. Oh my god.
The delay was ridiculous.
PTSD.
But
to be honest,
in terms of the tackling and stuff, it seemed as though it might be getting there. We might finally be winning the ball when we press circle. Like it's been a good couple years now where the ball's bounced back to my opponent every time, but I'm going to be rewarded for actually defending. And the thing was, I think a lot of people at the start of FIFA 21 were kind of worried about the defending, and they complained about the defending being difficult. Defending should be difficult. That should be the toughest part of the game. And in terms of attacking, the actual build up itself, when you're in the box, you should be able to just shoot if you've got the angle, shoot and score. But the two most difficult parts of the play are almost like the easiest now, because defending is just control CDMs and just mark the middle pass, and attacking is just wait until your opponent gets lazy and doesn't mark the striker pass at one point, or wait for the attacking AI to make your two centre backs cross each other for no reason at all, and then they randomly run into an open space. So it's not actually what you're doing yourself which is amounting to the goal. It's just AI that's doing everything defensively and offensively.
I think so. And sorry to cut you off. I just want to kind of point out, everything that you guys mentioned there is kind of, because I'm obviously in parties with my friends who are not pro players. They're obviously invested in FIFA in terms of, they talk to me, so they know the meta because of me and stuff like that. But when I talk to them, I keep telling them the same exact thing, and that's the kind of pattern I'm noticing here. Is that this game is too forgiving. If you don't have the skill to defend, don't worry, we'll do it for you. If you don't have the skill to attack, don't worry, we'll get a lucky bounce and it will allow you to get out of any stupid situation you put yourself in. And I keep pointing to them about this, because that's the thing you mentioned. Defending should be hard. And you know what? At the start of the game, everyone's complaining about through balls are impossible to defend. They're impossible and all this nonsense. But after a week or two, I honestly found it a lot easier to defend. It's just when it came to the weekend league, I noticed there are so many people who are struggling with that kind of transition where you have to defend properly, which is honestly for the first 2-3 weeks before they patched it and it all went to hell again. But those first 2 weeks, I've noticed that people honestly struggled to defend, to intercept, to do simple things, which FIFA 20 pretty much did it for them. I honestly think FIFA 20 was the most AI-based esports game ever. It was everything. And it's bad now as well. It's good because now it's bad. Like you said, you don't have to, sometimes I watch over footage for videos and just for my general stuff, and I see my opponent's centre back or right back or left back sprint across the box to intercept a ball or to tackle or something like that, and they're not even touching the player. And many people don't notice that during the game, but if you watch back and see it, you're disgusted by it, because you're like, that's nonsense. I worked so hard to go through for this guy to have his Mendy just run across the box and do a diving header, 360 clearance, and it's like,
those are some ridiculous ones.
And that's why the skill gap is non-existent, because the game is forgiving, and this is nothing wrong with casuals. I'm not saying it's their fault. It's always down to the developers. Always down to the developers. And if EA wants to make a game where they prioritize this kind of forgiving nature and allowing the AI to do stuff, then they shouldn't make a competitive game, because it's not competitive.
Not at all.
This is the thing which I would say with that, right? After FIFA 17, or when FIFA 18 came out, they said they literally came out. Stallion made a video about it. Stallion Summer, and he made a video about it. EA came out in an article and said they made FIFA 18 easier because and when you make a game easier, obviously the skill gap becomes less. they made FIFA 18 easier because FIFA 17 had was too hard for essentially like noobs or casuals or whatever to adapt because it was so skill based. So EA want to, but then since then they've I don't even know, have they improved prizes? I don't know. Like they've wanted the game to become more competitive, adding division rivals and adding champs and making champs for some reason a qualification to events and stuff like this, which makes zero sense. So they've said, oh yeah, we want the game to be competitive. We want to make this an esport, like a respected esport, but at the same time they've made the game less skill based. And surely they must know. There's no way I could go up to, I don't know who works at EA, Corey.
We don't know who works.
Ozaro.
Corey quit, I think now. Corey's.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. Whatever. Whoever else, and they surely can't say to me that this game is skill based. Like, how can you witness an umut ball and be like, wow, the skill on show here is just is unbelievable.
Yeah, the skill's just in the complete wrong place.
Yeah, it's FIFA 19. This is what I'll say about FIFA 19. FIFA 19 was absolutely horrific, but at least there was actually a skill gap, and I was awful at that game, right? Because I didn't want to do flick ups and stuff.
Yeah,
I was awful. But that game had so much skill gap, so much. Just obviously, like a lot of it was like random and stuff like this, but there was like a skill gap. Whereas now we've went to the game's obviously more football-like, I guess. It's more football-like than whatever that was, Rocket League, essentially. But we've gotten so much worse in terms of a skill gap. Unbelievable. Sometimes I come out of a game when I lose, and I just think, wow, what have I just experienced?
I know what you mean.
I'm struggling to get mad after losing now because it's like, I see these people I'm losing to, and no disrespect to them, okay, you won against me, but sometimes the way you win, I'm just like, I couldn't care less because at the next qualifiers I'm there, you're not. And it's creating this toxic nature because I see myself against the world when I'm playing weekly because everyone feels like a rat when they're beating me because of the way they're scoring. And you start to attribute that to the player. And I guess some people are rats and they're playing with possession and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes players just get lucky because how the game allows them. They're not actually bad people, but because of how toxic everything is towards the end, everything, you're like, okay, this guy is the most arrogant guy. He must hate me. I have to hate him, and that's kind of also what's stopping our community from developing really, because EA creates this toxicity around the whole game with everything they do, everything they create, and it's just it's bad in the long term.
That also comes down to just the competitive nature of it, though, right? But I think it's the competitive nature in the game being bad because if there was if the game was good, there'd be less toxicity. And if there was also not, non-competitive modes, I don't know, daily knockout tournament, right? If you couldn't win a daily knockout tournament in FIFA 17 or 18, I have no words. But my point is, they were, I guess you could say, semi-competitive tournaments, right? Kind of, I guess.
Yeah.
But they were just fun. Like they had different requirements and stuff like this. But now, it's just all rivals. Rivals isn't even competitive anymore. I don't even know why people even say that because you can just I'm at 2500 skill rating, and I play against people at 1950 all the time. How is that competitive
at all? Yeah.
Whereas last year or the year before, you'd wait 10 minutes, but you'd get you'd play a pro or a very high level player. Now it's just not, and then you've got champs, which half the time I'm sat there laid on my back of my seat, and I'm like, because it's just so boring. I'm what am I, 12-0 or something right now. I've no want. I have no want to play, and it's not even. It's because one, the game, and two, the opponents. Because I play against people who usually are French. No offense, who sit there and hold the ball like their life. Their first Elite Three finish is right in front of them, and they're 22-7, and they have to win. And I was sat there. I don't care. I'm 22-0. I'm not trying. But they just ruin the experience because they obviously I'm not saying that people that shouldn't be allowed to try or whatever, but it's like the way people play make us people annoyed. You know what I mean? Like that's just natural. Like I'm sure everyone does it. How I don't know how people can play possession merchants and not get irate. I personally do. I hate it.
I kind of know what you mean. I think what got me last week. I think last week was the one that kind of tipped me over the edge, and just in terms of the weekend league competitiveness. Because we had these reds, I'm presuming, I'm not sure if everyone who listens to the podcast plays weekend league, but obviously there were these red picks that were out that you could win for winning a certain number of games in a weekend league. And I again played weekend league, you know the levels of extent that people will play at to get a win. But that went to an absolute new level I've never seen before. Where it will go to extra time with somebody, and the whole of extra time, my opponent would pass the ball around the back to go to penalties. Now I'm thinking, in a game where I probably should have won, it shouldn't have even gone to extra time, but I'm having to play against someone that just wants to hold the ball to chance their luck on a penalty shootout. To maybe get run extra red pick to maybe get a card that's going to be useless in about 2 weeks' time.
Not even
that, that's useless already, right?
Yeah,
a Keylor Navas I'm never going to use, or I just want to get, or a Depay, which is cool. Yeah, I might sub him on once or twice in a weekend league, but I'm not going to play him. I'm not going to start him. But I know to maybe a more casual side, that card might look exciting, that card might look cool, but you don't have to remove the fun for everybody just to get that card. There are ways to acquire that card, and I think with players like Depay aren't particularly expensive. I think especially this year where I think coins at the start of the game you could get relatively faster than any FIFA we've had. Where you play the placement matches, you get about 50,000 coins to start off with. People have ridiculous teams now. Even in a more casual side, I think I've seen more Mbappe, Neymar's, Ronaldo, teams with just those three players in these first 3 months than I've probably seen all year in FIFA 20 or FIFA 19. Yeah. So the teams have got better. So I don't sometimes understand why people are going to that sort of extent where they say, I don't want to score. So you're not going to be allowed to score because I'm just not going to give you the ball at all. You're just not going to see the ball for 20 minutes or something.
This is the thing. The EA allow it though, don't they? That's the problem. Second man press. Thank you. I was literally about to say it. I was going to say that's the main thing. If they added second man press, they should just scrap tactics altogether, to be honest, because why we can have the AI do everything for us is stupid. Yeah. Or in some cases, the AI do absolutely nothing in terms of drop back. They just sit and do nothing.
Yeah.
Why are we in a world where second man press? I don't know. Second man press was very OP. I think everyone with half a brain knows that because people were just running around with a CDM and holding R1 or RB, but at least you can actually get the ball back, and at a high level that creates such a big skill gap because you could trap people into doing certain things and stuff like this,
making mistakes.
Make mistakes. But now it's so different, the way people play or the way the game is, I should say, because it's not about you cannot if you come against someone that's half decent that doesn't just I don't know, play extremely fast paced or whatever. you cannot force people to make mistakes on this game. Like,
no,
there's unless you turn on team press, you can't do anything because if someone's got the ball with a centre back, unless you've got team press on, they can just pass the ball to their right back and then to their right mid, to their centre mid, whatever. And because interceptions are so terrible, you can't get the ball off them. So
exactly.
Literally, what was it? Stallion made a video that was like, it was funny. I was watching his stream actually when he did this. But anyway, it was basically him. It was a drawing of the pitch, and there was the strikers, and then there was the centre backs, and you could go from your centre back to your striker with just pressing X, without even like thinking.
Yeah.
And that's such an issue because if you can just attack that easily, really, because as soon as you get the ball to the striker on this game, everything like opens up, right?
Yeah.
But you shouldn't even be in that position anyway, because you should have intercepted the ball, or you should have second round pressed someone to make a mistake so that they can't just rush forward every time. Like,
yeah, that's exactly it.
And this is the thing as well. Like, without a skill gap, in my opinion, this game will never be fun.
No,
in my opinion,
it
because
won't be.
there is zero fun losing to someone that you know you're better than, unless it's in a non-competitive game mode. So it's either just stop trying to make the game competitive, and just focus on daily knockouts, cups, whatever, which they'll never do. Or they just go full on competitive. They try and make a skill gap. They try and make mechanics which work and are consistent, and they try and get rid of inconsistent gameplay, because that's another thing which is stupid. I don't know how that exists. Like, there's delay and then there's inconsistent gameplay, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Go on, Tommy.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say you're right. And the inconsistency gets us all annoyed. You can go on a massive streak and have an amazing day on Weekend League, then the next day it's all delayed. The ping is all over the place. You can't do a thing. You can't place a pass, and suddenly you're like, "Wow, where's all my stuff gone?" And this is the funny thing, because I get this. There was so much beef going on Twitter. In case the viewers don't know, we have a pro called Footwiz Lyrics. He's very popular. He loves. Very outspoken.
He's very
I know where this is going.
I'm just thinking of the tweets.
I never had a problem with him. Like, he likes being outspoken. I think that's important in this community. There's too many people that are kind of sitting back. They don't want to comment at all about anything.
Yeah, it's good he speaks.
Even though he's controversial sometimes, there's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, he keeps it respectful as much as he can, and he doesn't. People are usually the ones toxic towards him. He's not going to go out of his own way to try and take someone down or something like that, especially casuals. But he mentioned this kind of thing of, why is this the only game where I am consistently losing to people that are like 10 ranks below me? And to be honest, people reply, "Oh yeah, but this happens all the time in the world." Today, for example, we had Cheltenham nearly pulling off an upset against City, right? And people use that to say, "Oh yeah, that means a Silver 1 player could be a pro." But I'm just like, well, but this happens consistently. We lose to people who are not at a level, and that's not to say obviously those people can't get to our level. Everyone has aspirations, everyone's allowed to dream. It's just I think the problem,
people take it as arrogance as well.
That's
the thing.
It's not.
Like, people think, "Oh yeah, you get a better rank doesn't mean like you're better." Well, we are, mate. You finished gold.
I mean, it does.
No offense to you. I think I could go at my little brother, teach him how to use bridge and, well, I would say step overs, bridge and like how to press triangle, and I can make him get gold 1 within like a week. Obviously we are just like a higher like. He taught his friend his gold 1. Yeah, he gave his gold 1 friend step over tutorial, didn't he? And then suddenly he became a 27
elite
player.
1. Yeah.
But obviously, like COD, right? It's a great example, because COD is such an established esports game, right? And even though casuals complain about it because it's become competitive and stuff like that, it's competitive stage, maybe because I'm not really like I'm only up to date when something's happening, right? Like the COD League and stuff like that. But generally, there's not that much like inconsistency and hatred and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like towards each other because you're toxic or whatever at the competitive stage. And obviously toxicity will always be there. This is sport, it is what it is. But my point is, would a top COD pro beat me in a normal battle, like
Mhm.
1v1 or whatever on Nuketown? Yes, he would absolutely smack me. I'll probably not get
Yeah.
one kill on him, right? And that's how it should be. I shouldn't pull off a mental win against him, where I kill him 30 times and he gets like 10 hits on me all game,
exactly.
something like that.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening on FIFA, and that's my problem, because I can't be motivated to do well in foot champs if I'm trying really hard. I'm barely getting to 27 or whatever,
Mhm.
right? After losing the 3 games by getting annoyed or whatever.
Mhm.
Then I see all these people getting 30-0 and doing
Mhm.
incredibly well. But when it comes to qualifiers, I'm doing better than them. For me, that's why foot
Well,
champs annoys
champs,
me,
nah,
because I don't
champs means
feel.
nothing, man. Champs means
Yeah, champs doesn't
absolutely
mean
nothing.
much.
That's what I mean, and that's annoying, because if EA wants to do something competitive, you got to make it mean something, because otherwise we don't know whether we're improving, we don't know whether we're doing
Yeah,
better
exactly.
at all levels. This literally applies to all levels. You don't know if you're a gold free player, are you getting better, or are you just having a better week in terms of matchmaking?
Mhm.
You don't know it.
I think that's the thing as well. Like, there's so much in terms of, like, when you kind of compare any sort of esports to FIFA. Like, we talk about COD. I think COD's like one of the ones that like most people kind of bring comparisons to. But like, there are so many like, you use the term veterans. Like, there are so many like veteran COD players that even when they've retired and they're not playing COD professionally anymore, if they hop onto a COD, they will still be able to dominate a game,
Slap us up.
or like
Yeah.
slap people up, like any sort of like casual lobby, right? They'd be able to go in there and mostly slap people up. But you don't see some of the greats like Scumpy or Formal, like the vets that are still playing now. You don't see them have like just randomly drop off and become the worst Call of Duty player of all time because the guns shoot sideways or something. Like
the mechanics are always consistent.
The mechanics are always
usually
consistent. They have the gun skill that they've had from years of playing. They have the sort of intelligence in terms of movement, positioning, all that pretty much stays the same. So all they have to do is just go, oh, this recoil pattern's different. I've got it. I'm done. I'm ready. And they're playing at the level that they were playing in the last game and the game before that and the game before that and the game before that. Yes, new people come in and, they come in, they have like, they're good games. You get like loads of like young players now that are like insanely cracked at Call of Duty.
Yeah, they're all doing G Fuel.
You also have the older players as well. And it's the same in any sort of competitive scene. You look at like the fighting game community. There's people like Daigo who are like 40 something years old. Like, they're still playing fighting games at a top level. People say like your reactions go at like they start to go down when you like get into your 30s and 40s. My guy is still playing and still like hitting top 8 at like major championships. And it's because he's been playing fighting games for his whole life. That has been his life dedicated to that. And even if the games slightly change, he's got so much IQ that like he could make you look bad at the game without having to do much at all. Like, he has so much intelligence that he will still get great at any video game, any fighting game that he picks up. But people in FIFA are kind of rising and dropping like they're like rising.
Yeah, depending on the
like
meta.
It's
literally it literally comes on the meta. It's stupid. Like, I remember like I'm gonna name names, right? But I'm not gonna, like, it's not out of disrespect. It's just out of what I can see as a viewer, right? Like FIFA 17, I remember watching TAS. Shells is obviously still at a high level, but I just remember Shells being, top 2 at Berlin in FIFA 17. Rocky, Prince of Persia came back a little bit recently because the game's does suit him a bit more. But like, these guys take like hiatuses, essentially, like kind of like disappearing a bit off the scene because the game is either damaging their mental health, which is another debate completely. Which I think we can all say it definitely does, to be honest, because sometimes I'll lose. I'm like, I've genuinely, it hurts me. It pains me to see how I've lost.
Mm-hmm.
Like well, my point is, from game to game, everyone just goes down, up, down, up. It's stupid because at the core of it, the game should just be football, right?
Yeah.
Like it's based on football. It should be football, and your level should remain, near enough, consistent.
Yeah,
Unless,
of course.
But with this game, it's like, you spam step overs to get 30, every week.
But now
That
this
sounded like-
week,
that
you
sounded-
now this week you're just gonna bridge every week because you can't step over. Like,
Yeah,
I get, I do get what you mean by that. It's like,
and I don't know. And as well, the patches. Why do the patches change the game like
drastically.
ridiculous amount? Like,
Mm.
like I don't necessarily agree with the whole like the game gets slower with all the patches. I see people say that a lot. I do not agree with that at all. I just think the game is awful during prime hours. Like anything before like 1 a.m. is shocking for me.
Mhm.
Absolutely abysmal gaming experience. I'd rather jump off a cliff. But in general, the patches change so much, and it's silly. It's silly in my opinion. Like I don't think we've had a FIFA where the game just stays the same, like the entire year.
Yeah.
Maybe like FIFA, like since FIFA 18, I should say, because no, even FIFA 18. Remember, like pre-patch or whatever, like they changed the game massively.
From pre-patch the first
Yeah,
year,
yeah.
because people complained again that
About
defending was
defending,
too
yeah.
difficult, and
Mhm.
all they needed to tweak simply, because I think people talk about FIFA 18 pre-patch is like, I think it's like it's become its own meme, like a little bit.
Yeah.
Everyone talks
Mhm.
about FIFA 18 pre-patch because everyone saw that there was potential in it. They had to tweak maybe one or two things, which was goalkeepers did not save anything. If the ball went into the middle of them, they would just flop, and the ball would roll under them and go in. So you could shoot from basically anywhere, and no matter what keeper you had, they just let the ball go in, which was absolutely ridiculous. That was the one main issue that I remember. I think there was maybe a couple other things, but it was difficult to defend because AI defenders didn't track all runs, and also they don't like cut out passes for you anymore.
I'll say this about FIFA 18 is the jockeying on that game is awful. I don't know if
the
you
jockeying
remember.
was bad. Yeah,
The jockeying on that game is. We are blessed with last year's jockeying was unbelievable. Like that was like so fast. It was like too fast because that's why it was so easy to defend. Yeah, that's why it's so easy to defend last year, because you just hold L2 R2 even with your attackers. I've got 91 Cruyff at the start of the game, and I can defend better than Prime Maldini at centre back. Because on this game you don't have to press tackle, so there's no point in having a standing tackle start, to be honest, because half of it is just you essentially trying to nudge someone off the ball so that they lose balance and then lose control of the ball. But yeah, like the original point about the patches, like why are we changing it why is the game becoming literally completely different every patch? But the problem is as well with that says a lot about the state of the community, to be honest, because the meta defines how people play the game, like, to be honest, because literally everyone from casuals to, well, apart from like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like the mega casuals, like, I don't know, some dads that like play for like 2 hours a week, like they won't know how to do step overs, but like the people that are like gold 3 level or whatever, they knew how to do step overs. But my point is, like, why is the game changing like that much, like from patch to patch? It's so silly, and I don't even know how to fix it. I don't know how to fix this issue until they.
That's not our job, honestly, thankfully, because we're not developers, we're not programmers.
No.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Unfortunately not.
But just to kind of, guys, start to close off, obviously.
Yeah.
we talked about these kind of issues that we're having right now, and I mean, there's so many issues. It's impossible to ever go through it all.
No.
Something else will pop up, and believe it or not, next week we'll find something new that's meta, that's broken again. There's always something. And but guys, just to close off, if you both want to just kind of have like kind of a closing statement of like kind of one thing you wish for the community to kind of learn from this, for the community to kind of unite, to not be as toxic to each other, what could they do to succeed in that? And obviously one or two things which you think are the priorities right now for EA in terms of fixing skill gap. Like, what are the two big things? I know I'm giving you a lot to think about here, but just kind of really come to a conclusion. What do you guys think?
You want to go first?
Yeah, Woodzy, you can go first.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't
No, Woodzy, you can go first. You can go first.
Okay, sure. So, I think, I think as a community, I think firstly, like the whole adapt thing needs to kind of be, I don't know, it needs to be kind of whittled down, because I think everyone goes through phases now. I think with the game changing so much sort of every other week, everyone goes through phases where they don't feel comfortable with the game, or things that they thought they had down just don't seem to work anymore. And I think this whole thing that, like, I think it's okay to discuss things and complain about certain things on Twitter, but when certain people just go, well, just get better, well, get good, like just get good, get better, like, why are you complaining, just get better, it doesn't really help anything, because someone may have a genuine concern about a move that's like not being fixed. Like the amount of even just constructive criticism about the bridge skill, like someone will be like, why am I defending the bridge but it keeps going through, and someone will say, well, just adapt. Well, that doesn't make any sense, because someone's talking about something that should logically make sense that isn't happening in the game, and then someone's turning around and saying, well, you should just get better at the random. I think as a community, though, we maybe need to be a bit better in terms of like communicating on Twitter and not kind of going out at people as much. People do, as they say, people do play this for a living, so for some people they have to play in a certain way to fit the meta, just to be able to put food on the table, as they say. So to an extent, we shouldn't really shame people specifically for it, but then we shouldn't also complain at people for complaining at certain things that are just ridiculous. I think it's kind of a balance to it, I think. And then what I would personally, kind of all the things that are like broken and stuff, I wouldn't particularly mind if there was just a way to make this game as responsive as possible. I think what I have struggled with most is just, I'm trying to input something on the screen, and the complete most random thing which I did not even think about doing has just happened. Like, for example, most recently now, if I do like a skill move and then I try and do like a ball roll, or I'll do like I'll do a skill move, I'll sprint into space, and then I'll do a ball roll. But for some reason, the game has held my R2 input on for longer than it should have done. So when I'm doing a ball roll, the ball will just flick upwards instead of just doing a ball roll. Like things like that. Or if I turn with the left stick rapidly, why doesn't my player try and move rapidly? Like, you'll have moments where you'll want to take one kind of like small touch inside to play a pass in, but your player won't take that touch, but they'll still try and pass the ball. And because they didn't take that minor small touch that you input on the left stick, the pass just doesn't go the way you want it to. It's kind of like those little things, like you do a fake shot, but you only get the X input, so the player passes the ball, but you've clearly done square X or circle X, but for some reason the game hasn't kind of input that onto the screen. And like being able to do things first time or like as soon as you do them, if they could just somehow work out what's causing those issues, most of the broken things wouldn't be too much of a problem, because you'd be able to play how you'd want to play. You'd be able to play quick because you can pass first time and you can turn really quickly with Neymar, instead of one game you can and next minute he's, you know, a bus. Like there's just no kind of consistency. So it would be nice if things are responsive and consistent, so that I can at least enjoy using the players that I want to use, and not just sometimes feel, you know, they're cool, and then other times I'm like, why didn't I just get Gold Werner instead, because Neymar's awful. Like it's just those things. I think that's the kind of main starting point for me in terms of improvement.
What my main improvement for the game would be, like you said, consistency. Like in terms of everything. Like if you're gonna make certain things overpowered, make them consistently overpowered. Make the connection consistent. Just make everything consistent. Like, please, I beg you. That is all. Because I will adapt. Like, as much as I complain, about the game, right? I will adapt, and I'll just get better or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you have to, or else you're just lost, aren't you?
Yeah.
But it's hard to do that when 1 minute you're playing, you know, I don't know, you're playing in like what feels like 0 ping, and then the next minute you're playing in what feels like 10,000 ping.
Yeah.
And nothing's responsive, or it's mostly the responsiveness, and also the inconsistency. The inconsistency in the mechanics is really annoying. Like, how come sometimes you can do a pass forwards on the swivel, which goes at 100 mile an hour, but then sometimes you'll do a simple pass forwards into your striker and it'll go at 0 mile an hour.
Yeah.
Like it just consistency is the one thing. And in terms of the community stuff, God, I don't know. I would say it depends in terms of like the pro community. I would say God, I don't know. It's so hard. I would say, probably the adapt thing, to be honest, because that is so frustrating when like you complain at someone's like, "You're just bad, bro," or whatever. And I'm just like, "Yeah, but I'm in a qualifier and you're not." Or you know, I'm just an infinitely better player than you, or whatever. But probably that, or maybe like when I know personally, the only time I've ever properly had a go at someone was he tried to disqualify me from an event when I did nothing wrong.
I mean, that's a whole new topic in terms of like cheating and stuff in events.
I had my João Felix on the bench, and he didn't get subbed on. He didn't touch the field. And he thought that was grounds, because I beat him 6-3. He thought that was grounds to report me. That's the only time where I've ever said anything bad, really. But in general, even then, like, I don't know. But that's a completely different topic. But in general, yeah, like, if it depends, when it comes to play styles and stuff like this, you shouldn't personally attack someone for the play style or whatever. Because on a pro level, I should say, because if you're like a weekend league player and you play like, I don't know, like Ratty, I guess you could say. Trust me, it's not worth it, bro. It's not worth it. Just play for fun. It's weekend league. But yeah, that would be my thing. When it comes to a pro level, don't judge people for how they play, because they got to secure the bag, you know.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I agree, and I want to just elaborate quickly on that point. You know, when it comes to community kind of stuff, you know, I'm never like toxic to anyone like I don't go out of my own way to ruin someone's day or whatever, even if they play in a very kind of rat kind of way. I just let it go and I move on, right? But if obviously they start sending me messages and stuff like that, as as a community, we shouldn't actually do this because we already have a struggle as it is with the game. We already get annoyed at the game, and
Mhm.
it's about really just kind of everyone respecting each other. And I know that there will always be some kind of beef, and that makes it exciting. Um, but at the same time, make sure that it doesn't cross a certain line. We can't be
We make it personal.
yeah,
Is the thing.
Yeah.
not don't make it personal. Um, and obviously stay away from all the bad stuff. No racism, no homophobia, none of that kind of stuff because that's always wrong. On the internet generally. And yeah,
Just in general, to be honest,
in
not even just
general,
on the
just don't do
internet.
that, guys. Life lesson. It's not a life lesson. This podcast might turn into like a little tutorial on life more than anything.
Yeah. Don't be
yeah,
a rat. There you go.
don't be a
Don't be a
rat.
rat in real life.
You're right. Get out of the sewer. Get out of the sewer. But no, and I think community and I think game wise, kind of EA needs to really, and we know they're not going to do it. And we're speaking for nothing here. We know they're not going to do it. But what they have to really do is get a sort out a priority list of what is the most important thing they want to do. If they want to do competitive gaming, there's nothing wrong with that. As a company as big as EA, they got the resources, the money to do this. 100%. They got all the money in the world
Mhm.
to do this. But they have to sort out a priority list. They need to sort out like kind of a plan for the whole year. I feel like sometimes they just go on the whim. Like, oh no, this is happening right now. We need to react. They don't have a
Mhm.
plan
Yeah.
for the whole year. Well, how are they going to go with everything?
We
And
don't even know what's happening with World Cup or anything. I don't
or
think.
anything like that, and it's an absolute mess. The thing that they said,
Mhm.
it won't be on the new gen. They haven't released this kind of information
But
until
that they
like a
need
week
to,
or two after.
either book off or, set aside for. So
Mhm. Yeah, that's
And
completely.
and but guys, I think we covered a lot of topics today. I
yeah.
think we talked about a lot of important things. Obviously, to all the viewers, make sure to check out the social media channels. Links will be in the description. They'll be at the start of the video as well. And guys, I don't know if you have anything else to say. But I think we covered absolutely everything that we can within a reasonable amount of time. I'm sure that if the viewers want to jump on our social media channels, they'll see a lot more conversations like this. Hopefully, people that
There'll probably be a lot more tweets complaining.
yeah, there'll be a lot more complaining. We try to keep it very PG and just keep it as
yeah.
as respectful as possible. But guys, thank you for joining. Thank
Yeah.
you for
Thank you.
Cheers.
coming
Thank
over on
you.
the channel. And obviously to all of you viewers out there, make sure to comment down below. Tell me what you think about some of the topics we raised. And as always, guys, peace.